Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into a lot of exciting stuff. We're going to be talking about where we currently stand with cryptocurrencies, and we're also going to be talking about how we are setting up oh so nicely for this summertime, where I believe we are going to go parabolic for the price movement of crypto. Now all that in today's video. Now if you do find this video informative, don't be afraid to tap on that subscribe button and maybe give this video a like or even a dislike if you don't like the video. Just gives me a good idea of what content you guys like to watch, what you don't like to watch, all that sort of stuff. So diving right in today, I want to talk about where we currently stand with crypto. As you can see, everything is in the green, looking oh so juicy, except Tether, of course, and a couple others, but the majority of everything is in the green, and by quite a lot. Now last night we did see Bitcoin easily break the $6,700 range. We just recently hit the $6,800 range, but recently just broke back down within the hour, and we are beginning to see things slow down a little bit for Bitcoin and sort of altcoins in general. Now it could just be this time of day, but we will have to keep an eye on this. As you guys can see, we are sort of not necessarily forming a double bottom, but we are moving kind of sideways. And this is what we've been experiencing over the past week or so, where we move kind of sideways, we have a small dip, we continue moving sideways, but we work our way up. And as you guys can see, we continue to do this throughout the entire week. So that could be what we're experiencing right now. We will have to wait a little longer to really determine that, but also with altcoins, as you guys can see, the majority of altcoins are beginning to flourish. Are we in altcoin season? I wouldn't say necessarily yet. Now, of course, altcoins are doing very well today, but we will have to see where things are at tomorrow. In the majority of times with cryptocurrencies, what we end up seeing is a lot of money flows into Bitcoin at a drastic rate, as we've seen over the past 2 weeks, and then as people think we are beginning to top out, a lot of those profits are going to begin to flood into altcoins, and that's what we're sort of seeing here. Now, don't get me wrong. 24-hour volume is continuing to increase drastically, and the market cap is continuing to increase drastically. We're around we broke $200 billion last night around 10 p.m. And as you guys can see, we added on an extra $6 billion overnight. But also keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is beginning to taper off. Let's look at this chart real briefly. So as you guys can see, it is going parabolic, but if we go to the 7-day, we'll go to the 24-hour, we'll go to the 7-day, we are beginning to move it a little sideways. Now right here, this is where we were trending up the past month or so, and then this is where we are beginning to move sideways. So that just means that the majority of money is beginning to taper out of Bitcoin, move into altcoins, which is not necessarily a bad thing. That is the main indicator you want to watch when it comes to determining when alt season is going to start, is when Bitcoin dominance begins to depreciate. Bitcoin dominance was around 60% about a day ago, and as you can see, around 58% today. So nonetheless, where do I think we're going to be going? I think we are going to continue this momentum with very small corrections here and there, nothing drastic, into June. Now, do I think we're going to have a massive correction? It is definitely possible. Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin is really not following any technical analysis right now, which is not necessarily the best thing, but it is what it is. I'm definitely not looking at TA right now, at least in the short term of things, because it's just clearly not reliable. When it comes to support, if we do begin to taper off and have a drastic downturn, we do have a handful of support layers. Now, first, I want to briefly talk about how we could continue to rally a little longer. There is an array of signs hinting that BTC won't take a breather here. Firstly, there remains an open interest of $690 million worth of Bitcoin positions on BitMEX. All while position funding has reached negative 0.09% for shorts, this could imply that a short squeeze is on the horizon. As an industry researcher, Willie Wu remarks, if a short squeeze comes to life, BTC would see a blow-off, whereas prices explode within a short period of time before a retracement. This is because such squeezes require short sellers to buy back at market price, creating instant buying pressure. So pretty much what what this is talking about, if we do begin to see a good chunk of shorts increase, or the majority of shorts that are currently on the market, they will have to buy back into the market, and that will create instant buying pressure, which will shoot us up relatively parabolic. If that is the case, we will definitely retrace after that. Now I see the next layers of the next layers of support being around $5,800. $6,400 was the big one, but we completely blew through that. So I think if anything, we will drop through 6,400 down to 58, and the worst case scenario, 4,200. I personally don't think we're going to get to 4,200 simply because the human psychology will not allow it. The majority of people will begin to buy up around the $5,000 range, the $4,800 range, before we even get anywhere near 4,200. So that's what's really going on right now and what we need to keep an eye out for. We could see this sort of euphoric price action within the coming days where we see Bitcoin spike parabolically. Just keep in mind that is probably the majority of short sellers buying back into the market, and we will most likely retrace shortly after that. Now, when it comes to altcoins, of course, you can't really go wrong, I think, with any of these prices. Now, I wouldn't necessarily just jump into something up 14% on the day, but if you were planning on getting into some altcoins, if you were waiting for the perfect moment, just keep in mind that I'm sure the majority of you guys are holding for the long term, and you're never going to be able to time the market perfectly, and you absolutely do not want to miss out on these levels, because when we do wake up one morning and you see your favorite altcoin up 40, 60, 100% on the day, you are going to feel absolutely terrible trying to save yourself a couple pennies here and there. So I'm not necessarily saying jump right in, because of course none of this is financial advice, but if you were planning on getting into any specific altcoins, definitely consider getting into them relatively soon, and don't look back. I mean, in the grand scheme, we have a lot coming up within the summertime, and that's what we are going to be talking about next. So first off, I want to talk about Tim Draper. Tim Draper believes Bitcoin will grab 5% of the Earth's market share. Now, I want to watch this video real briefly with you guys because I found it really, really fascinating. So let's go ahead and play this.
I do want to quickly get you on Bitcoin. You have been very involved.
I'm wearing the tie and the socks.
Very sexy, let me tell you.
I'm glad you think
in 2014, you purchased, what, 30,000 Bitcoin at $632 per coin. What is that worth today?
About 10 times that much. And it's gonna keep going, because I'm a believer that in 4 years, something like that, Bitcoin will be about a 5% market share of the Earth. And it's a better currency. It's decentralized, open. It's transparent. Everybody knows what happens on the blockchain. It is. I eventually want to have a fund where I take in Bitcoin and I fund everybody in Bitcoin, and they pay their employees and suppliers in Bitcoin, and then I pay my investors in Bitcoin, because I would then require no accounting, no legal, no bookkeeping, no custody. It would all be done.
Now, if you guys noticed at the very end there, I thought that was very fascinating, and that's something I really never thought about personally, where a lot of these companies can eventually utilize Bitcoin and Bitcoin only when it comes to paying out employees, stuff like that, and you don't necessarily have to deal with any bookkeeping because everything is done for you on the blockchain. So I just thought that was pretty fascinating, and also, of course, Tim Draper's prediction that Bitcoin will be 5% of the world's wealth, which I definitely think is very possible. It's just a matter of when. And of course, they go on to talk about how he invested back in 2014, 30,000 Bitcoin at $632 per coin, and that's sitting at roughly $189 million today. So Tim Draper definitely knows his stuff, and I would not best bet against him at all. So next up, I want to talk about what we are going to be seeing within the next coming months of the summertime. We have a lot of stuff going on. Now, of course, we all know about Facebook. Facebook has announced they are going to be launching their own stablecoin dubbed Libra. And this is a very exciting news, and I personally think is going to bring mass exposure to the space. We have seen public reports of what Facebook might be working on, but most is pretty private, Bogart told Bloomberg. But what we do know is that they have an extensive and serious team that is working on some public blockchain efforts, some payment system. Bogart suggested that Facebook will be a catalyst for mainstream Bitcoin and cryptocurrency adoption around the world, spurring other financial and technology companies to get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Once Facebook users own Facebook Coin, it will be like being on the internet, so people can spin out and start owning Bitcoin, Ethereum. Bitcoin has gone from 0 users 10 years ago to somewhat between 30 million to 100 million. The estimates are tough, and Facebook has billions of users. It's thought Facebook is planning to raise money to use as collateral for its cryptocurrency while designing the digital token to keep a stable value pegged to a basket of foreign currencies held in bank accounts. So, this is nothing new. And meanwhile, Facebook's plans to make money off its WhatsApp messaging app through a digital payments network were expanded this week after it was revealed the Palo Alto company will grow its London office to take on the project. It's thought that Facebook has been eyeing a move into broader financial services since hiring former PayPal president David Marcus in 2014, who also became head of the company's blockchain division. So this is nothing new, guys. We all know Facebook is going to be launching a stablecoin, but I don't think people really understand the large scale of this, why this is such a big deal. Now, obviously, it's a stable coin. It's going to be pegged to the US dollar or the euro or the yen or whatever. But that does not change the fact of the exposure that Facebook is giving to the cryptocurrency space. We all know Facebook is one of the largest platforms in the world with over 2 billion users, and that's not even including WhatsApp and Instagram. And this is going to bring all of these eyeballs to the cryptocurrency space. Also, keep in mind, as of right now, they do discuss how they are working on some sort of private payment network. And of course, we know they have their stablecoin, but I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook was also working on something very similar to like how Bakkt is working on their exchange, or a cryptocurrency exchange in general. I mean, realistically, that would not be the most foolish move of Facebook to launch their own cryptocurrency exchange and have the Facebook stablecoin as the main currency that you transact different cryptocurrencies into. So that's just one exciting news we have coming in the next couple months. And of course, next we have Bakkt. We all know the Bakkt exchange has been being worked on for quite some time, and it keeps getting delayed. It is supposed to be launched by the end of 2019, but of course we don't have an official date. But I wanted to point this out to you guys because I found it very fascinating. Jeffrey Sprecher, ICE's chief executive officer, allegedly told Reuters it's really been helpful that the cryptocurrency industry sort of went into what they call a winter. Sprecher is referring to the severe bear market for the cryptocurrency throughout 2018, which saw BTC prices fall to a relatively low of $3,000 after reaching nearly $20,000 just a year earlier. So this is the CEO of ICE talking about how they're very thankful that cryptocurrencies went into a bear market because they were able to utilize the opportunity of buying up as many cryptocurrencies as they can when it comes to Bitcoin and what they're offering on their platform at very, very cheap prices. And we are going to continue to see this happen throughout the coming months, and I'm sure we've been experiencing over-the-counter trading left and right for the majority of institutions, where they are going to be buying up all of this Bitcoin, and eventually the supply for Bitcoin is going to be so low. So that's also something you guys want to keep into consideration. How much Bitcoin do you own? Now, that's something I'll probably get into in a future video, but that's a serious question. I know everyone loves their altcoins, but you do also need to focus on the bigger picture here and focus on what seems to be like the Mac Daddy of all Mac Daddies, and of course, that's Bitcoin. So I will talk about that in a future video, but I'd be curious to know how many Bitcoins do you guys own, or at least how many Bitcoins do you think one person should own, because we do know there's only 0.003 Bitcoin for every individual to own in the world, and that number is not going to change. Bitcoin is fixed to 21 million, and it is going to stay like that for its entire lifetime, for our entire lifetime. So I'm just curious to know, leave a comment down below, how many Bitcoins do you guys think is a good amount for one individual to own? And then next up, I want to briefly talk about Fidelity. We know Fidelity is launching their platform very, very soon, and this is another catalyst that I think is really going to help drive the next bull market. Having Fidelity in the space, a credible institution, is not going to affect the market in a bad way. It's only going to bring positivity into the space. So in contrast, brokerage firm E-Trade is said to be launching crypto trading for retail investors as well, while we also know Robinhood did so in January of 2018. The news comes a few weeks after a survey commissioned by Fidelity has shown that 47% of institutional investors said digital assets such as Bitcoin are worth investing in. 47% is a massive number, and I really think that number is going to just grow as the majority of people wake up and they realize this is not going away, and also as we see more institutions and governments adopt cryptocurrencies as well. Fidelity is one of the largest financial services and investment firms in the world, with $6.7 trillion in total customer assets as of December of 2018, $2.8 trillion of which come from institutional investors. So a lot of money is in Fidelity, guys, and I know Fidelity isn't the most popular name in the traditional world, but I want you guys to understand how big of a deal this is, that Fidelity is going to be launching a cryptocurrency platform, and that is, of course, is not also including Facebook, Backed, and a handful others, and even possibly E-Trade. So all of this is supposed to be coming within the next couple months, and I would not be surprised if Backed really started to rush their platform, especially when Fidelity launches, because of course that is their competition, and they want to adopt as many customers as they can before the others do. So that is all the news I have for you guys today. Let me know down below, how many Bitcoin do you think is a good amount for one person to own? Also, do you think we are going to continue to rise in Bitcoin for the next week or so, or we are going to begin to taper off and have a little bit of a correction? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next.